Chapter 9, Lesson 7, Essential Question. How can you write and graph ordered pairs on a coordinate grid using two numerical patterns? So basically this lesson is going to be combining our lessons with line graphs and the number patterns. Unlock the problem. Sasha is making hot cocoa for a party. For each mug of cocoa, he uses 3 tablespoons of cocoa mix and 6 fluid ounces of hot water. If Sasha uses an entire 18 tablespoon container of cocoa mix, how many fluid ounces of water will he use? Underline what you're being asked to find and circle the important information. You should have underlined how many fluid ounces of water will he use, and then also if Sasha uses the entire 18 tablespoons. The important information is 3 tablespoons of cocoa and 6 fluid ounces of hot water, and then it's important to have the 18 tablespoons so that we know our final destination. For this box over here, make sure you answer those. That square is just restating information that we know. 3 tablespoons of cocoa and 6 ounces of hot water. So step 1 is to use the 2 rules to generate the first 4 terms of the number of tablespoons of cocoa mix and the fluid ounces of water. So fill in this table up for the next 3 missing terms. You should have used the rule of +3 for the cocoa mix, so 3, 6, 9, 12, and then the rule of +6 for the water, so 6, 12, 18, 24. And then this box is our final answer that we're actually looking for. So step 2 is to write the number pairs as ordered pairs, relating the number of tablespoons of cocoa mix to the number of fluid ounces of water. So they're telling us that we're writing the cocoa mix first and then the water. Fill in these 3 ordered pairs. You should have ended up with the ordered pairs of 3, 6, 6, 12, 9, 18, and 12, 24. Step 3 is to actually graph and label the ordered pairs. So do that part first. Graph right here on this graph your 4 ordered pairs. Remember, you have to run to the rocket before it can take off. So you always do X across the bottom and then you go up and put your dot where they would cross. So I plotted my points, and so the next one, and when they say label, they mean to actually write the 3, 6 right next to it. I don't have the precision ability with my iPad right here, so I'm not going to label that. But the next one is to write a rule to describe the number pairs. So what do you do to your X to get your Y? What are you doing to your 3 to get your 6? Your 6 to get 12, 9 to get 18. What rule needs to happen between each of those pairs? Well, multiplication is one of the first things that I try. And so if I look at it, I can go 3 to 6. What do I have to do to 3 to make it a 6? Well, I can times it by 2. Does that work for the rest of them? I times 6 times 2, I get 12. 9 times 2, I get 18. And 12 times 2, I get 24. That's correct. And I added the tablespoons to make sure that we know that it was multiplying the cocoa mix to get the water. Because if we did it the other way around, we wouldn't get the same answers. And so the rule is to multiply the tablespoons by 2. So now we can use our rule to fill in our missing. 18, following the rule, times 2. 18 times 2 equals 36. So Sasha's going to be using 36 fluid ounces of water if he uses the whole container of cocoa mix. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what does this have to do with line graphs? So let's move down to the next part. So we need to write our final order, or our final answer as an ordered pair, so the 18 and 36, and then we need to graph and label that, go that far. So your ordered pair should be 18, 36, and graphing it right here. I did it in a green dot. So the next step is starting at the origin, remember that 0, 0, connect the points with straight line segments. Use your ruler to connect them. And then answer, what do the connected points form, and why is that formed? So after using your ruler to connecting the dots, what did it form? It actually formed a line. This is how they combine, so your numerical patterns can create a line graph. And why do you think that's formed? Well, now I know this is a long sentence, but it's important information to recognize. So the blank coordinate is always blank times greater than the blank coordinate, so the line increases by the same amount. So which coordinate is always becoming greater than the other one? Well, the y coordinate is always how many times greater? What are we multiplying by? It's always 2 times greater than what coordinate? What coordinate are we multiplying? The x coordinate. Now, because it's consistently always 2 times more, that means the line just increases by the same amount every time. And you can see that right here. It's just a straight line. Example, John is customizing an audio sound system. He needs to buy 3.5 feet of cable wire, but it's sold in inches. He knows there are 12 inches in 1 foot. How many inches of wire will he need? Underline what you're being asked to find, circle the important information. So you should have underlined how many inches of wire will he need, and then 12 inches is 1 foot, and how many does he actually need? The 3.5 feet. So the first step is to fill in the table and then write your numbered pairs as ordered pairs. Press pause while you do that. You should have ended up with the table filling in the 24, the 36, the 48, because the rule is to multiply the number of feet by 12, and your ordered pairs should be 112, 224, 336, and 448. The next step is to actually graph these ordered pairs, and so you are going to make your dots. For the first dot, go over 1, up 12, place your dot. Press pause and plot your points. Use your ruler and connect your dots so it's a straight line, and make sure it connects from the origin 0, 0. The next step is to actually use our line graph to find the number of inches in 3.5 feet. So we need to think that 3.5 is between which whole numbers? Well, we need 3 and 4. And so we need to locate 3.5 on the x-axis. That is right here, the horizontal line, 3.5. And the next step, step 4 down here, is to draw a vertical line from 3.5 on the x-axis to the line that connects them. So we're going to take this and we're going to dot, dot, dot up this, and it crosses right there. And then we're going to place that point. Okay, so it should be right there. And then the next step is to find out how many inches equals 3.5 feet. We need to draw a horizontal line to the y-axis. So what's the second half of that? So right now, I'm going to actually just write down, we know that the first x point coordinate is 3.5. So if we take our dot from right here and we go left to the y-axis, we can see it crosses at 42. So our second point is 42. Now if we move up, so our y-axis is where it crosses is our answer. So how many inches is in 3.5 feet? He will end up needing to buy 42 inches of cable wire. And again, we found that because we found 3.5 feet, found where it crossed the line, and then what was our missing coordinate was the 42. Complete your share and show problems. Press pause while you work. The first step in number 1 is to graph and label the related number pairs. So here's my first 4 that I graphed. Complete using a ruler, make it a line, connecting the dots, make sure you go through the origin. So now I have my line, and what is the rule? What am I doing to my x coordinate to get my y coordinate? What am I doing to the butter? Because we're telling us to multiply the number of tablespoons, which is the butter, to find the ounces. What am I doing to each of those? I am multiplying it times 2. So then what is my missing term? I have 5 here. If I multiply that times 2, I get 10. Does that match up with my line? Let's go 5 all the way up. It crosses right there. Let's make a point. Is that at 10? Yep, that's the y-axis of 10. So there is number 1. Now we're going to look at number 2. So we're multiplying the number of hours by something to find the distance in miles. So hour is time, and to get the distance walked. So this is our x and this is our y. Go ahead and graph those points. Well, they should already be graphed, but so now we need to graph these points. So if the hour is the x, so I go over to the left to right 1 and up 3. So my point should be there. 2 is 6, so 2 and up to 6. 3 and up to 9. And then I need to connect my dots with a ruler, making sure that I go through the origin of 0, 0. So there's my line, and again, I don't have a ruler, so it's not the smoothest line, but yours should be really straight. And so now let's figure out our rule. Multiply the number of hours by something to find the distance in miles. So what am I doing to my hours to get my miles? My 1 to my 3. Well, 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. So we're multiplying times 3. So what's our missing term? What's our missing distance? 4 times 3 is 12. Does that match our graph? There's 4 up. That's where it crosses. Place the dot. Does it cross at 12? It does. So our missing term is 12. You may now work on your own and problem solving sections. Just so you are aware, on the problem solving sections, you will be creating 2 different line graphs, 2 different lines on the same graph. So don't be surprised when you're asked to do that.